Welcome to Woody's Roundup. But it's a podcast. Do you think that Woody would have a podcast?
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put in that bit of us singing that Sarah McLachlan song.
Okay, that's really good. As the years went by, she faded away.
And
when she
loved me. And this is No Nerds Allowed.
When she loved me.
When she loved two white people talking about movies.
Listen, it's not just us, it's everybody. It's every white person.
What are we going to talk about in our intro? We've been doing this for a full year now.
We've been doing this for a very long time.
I feel, by the way, I do feel like we should do something cool for when we hit an actual year. It's been a year chronologically. Okay, we'll just start that with the podcast.
Okay.
So, technically, we recorded our first episode in, like, mid-November of last year.
Yeah.
I don't think we actually, like, uploaded it and started this podcast in earnest until, like, 4 months from then, though.
Because I think we wanted to have a little bit of a backlog so that we didn't have the pressure to record every week. And then that fell apart, and now we record every week.
Right. Hold on. I'm going to check our YouTube and see when I uploaded the first one. Well, it was also because we thought we were just only going to record it when we were in the same room.
Also.
And then we decided we weren't going to do that.
Weren't going to do that.
We weren't going to do that. Oh, we've got 2 new subscribers on YouTube this week.
Who are they?
I don't know. Let me see.
Should we do subscriber shoutouts? Is that a good idea or a terrible idea?
No, it's a bad idea. I don't want to do that.
Okay, great. So fuck you, whoever subscribed.
Yeah, whoever subscribed to us, go fuck yourself. If you subscribed between this episode and the last episode,
we know who you are.
I couldn't give a shit. Yeah, no, buzz off. We don't want you here.
Yeah, we gotta be more like exclusive about who we let onto the channel. And this is the new rules.
We should be like old school Facebook where you have to like apply to follow our podcast.
Or like Instagram now.
What? That's not a thing.
There's private accounts.
Oh, that's not the same. I mean, like on old school Facebook, you had to be invited by somebody who was already on it. It was like an exclusive club.
Weird. How long did that last?
Like a good year or so. It was a weird thing though, where it got like really popular, but it was like widespread enough that like everybody was like inviting people.
Yeah.
So in order to like get on Facebook, you had to be like, oh shoot, do I know anybody who like is on Facebook already? Like I want to get in on that. And then at a certain point they were like, oh, and now you can just sign up if you want to.
Now. But
have you not seen The Social Network?
I haven't. All I know is that Mark Zuckerberg is in it.
That's such a fucking good movie. We're going to do The Social Network one of these weeks.
Okay.
I just combined the words network and Mark Zuckerberg, and I said The Social Network.
Zuckerberg.
I think Zuckerberg.
I think for our 1 year anniversary of the channel, we should try to do Planet of the Apes again, because that was our second episode. And it got eaten, and we had a great conversation. It was probably not that good, because I think it was like our second podcast we ever recorded.
No, it was our first one.
It was our first one. I remember having a super cool conversation about Planet of the Apes, and then your computer ate it. And
yeah,
we
Audacity just exploded in on itself, because Audacity is the worst program in the world.
Yeah, that's why we don't use Audacity anymore.
Okay, yeah, so we first uploaded on January 19th. So in a couple of months in January, we'll have an extravaganza.
After the Christmas times.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to call my shot right now, okay?
Okay.
January 19th, 2020.
Yep.
We're going to do a special anniversary issue in which we have as a special guest who are we going to have as a special guest? I'm calling my shot. It's going to be he's dead, Adeline.
The ghost of Billy Mays.
Really insensitive to say. We're going to have the ShamWow guy.
No, I don't like the ShamWow guy. He's weaselly.
I think he abused his wife or something. It doesn't matter. We're going to have him on the podcast.
We're going to be turned into a breaking news network, and we're going to talk to him.
Who's the Taplight guy?
I don't know. Who's the... I
know
all of the
guy.
Products, which tells you how good the commercial it is. I don't know.
Just tap, and you've got light. Who's that guy?
Light.
And you've got light. Taplight guy.
Taplight guy.
He had the show with Billy Mays.
I think that's the same as the ShamWow guy. I think they're the same
No, it's a different guy. No, the ShamWow guy was like that really skeevy white guy with the American accent that weirded people out. Guy. And then he turned out to actually be like a serial abuser or something.
Whoops.
Yeah.
You never know who's selling you a towel that absorbs more water than a regular towel, maybe.
Okay, let's see. Vince Offer is the ShamWow guy. Let's see. He's got a tab on his Wikipedia labeled legal issues. But yeah, we're gonna get the Taplight guy on the podcast.
I mean,
and we're gonna ask him. We're gonna ask him to say, "Just tap, and you've got light."
And you've got light.
Okay, honestly, all of our 17 followers, I want you all to get on that guy on Twitter and ask him to be on our podcast. I can't find his name. Hold on, this is important to this bit. I feel like Taplight infomercial guy.
More like tap fuck.
Just tap, and you've got light.
And you've got fuck.
Love them or hate them, our list of the top infomercial stars.
Hey, Jackson.
I gotta... Why can't I find this guy's name? No, it's not. It's everything.
This is Hot Garbo.
This is everything.
Just tap, and you've got everything.
Anthony Sullivan.
Okay.
I clicked on the Taplight infomercial, and the first thing in it is him going, "Hi, I'm Anthony Sullivan." I'm going to make sure he's still alive.
No, you see, Billy Mays and Anthony, whatever you just said his last name is, actually got into
Anthony Sullivan. OxyClean.
Sullivan.
He's also the OxyClean guy.
Yeah, no, they got in a bar fight. I think they were actually friends.
No, they did that show together.
Yeah.
They were like co-hosts on that television show.
Yeah, and they fought
Queens.
to the death, and Anthony won.
What was that show called?
They fought to the death live on television.
I just searched for Billy reality show.
Billy.
Pitchmen. I said Pitch Queens. I was close.
Pitch Queens? Like bitch queens?
Yeah, I guess.
What the... Why would it... It's not a drag race show. It's not Paula Abdul. No, who's the guy that does drag race? What's his name?
RuPaul. Not Paula Abdul.
They got Paul in their names. It's not RuPaul's Drag Race.
Okay, who would you rather... Okay, you have to pick. Okay. Who would you rather have on our podcast? Anthony Sullivan or Randy Jackson?
I don't know anything about Randy Jackson other than I like to say Randy Jornsen.
He was
a baseball man?
He was the bassist for Journey for a couple of years, and he was a judge on American Idol. No, Randy Johnson is who you're thinking of.
Oh.
Okay, let me explain to you the difference between Randy Johnson and Randy Jackson.
The son of Randy Jackson and Randy Johnson is Randy Jornsen, and that's what I say anytime I hear the name Randy Jackson.
Randy Johnson was a pitcher who hit a bird with a baseball bat one time.
I would much rather have Randy Johnson on the show. Are you kidding me?
No, more than Randy Jackson?
More than
said
Randy
dog
Jackson.
A lot on American Idol in 2005?
Did he hit a bird with a baseball so hard that it exploded? I don't think so.
I still think that's the funniest video on the internet.
Because what do you do after that? Do you just keep playing baseball?
Like, what are the rules?
Yeah. So, he didn't catch it. So is the play still going?
Is it a strike? Do you call that a ball?
He didn't catch it. Is that a home run? Do I need to call someone about this dead bird?
I think you just all go home. I think you just call it a wash for the day.
Well, see, the way that baseball works is that there's actually 9 more hours of play. And you just all kind of stand there while these guys, you just watch them play basketball for like 9 hours.
Okay, here's my official call to action, okay?
Yeah, we're getting Randy Johnson, the man who...
No. I want everybody on Twitter to tweet at 3 different people.
Randy Johnson.
I want you to tweet at Anthony Sullivan, Randy Johnson, and Randy Jackson. I want all 3 of them to acknowledge us, and ideally, we get a podcast with all 3 on at the same time. We'll settle for just one of them, but the goal here is January 2020, an all-star cast, Jackson and Adeline McMurray, Anthony Sullivan, Randy Johnson, Randy Jackson, together at last.
And their son, Randy Johnson.
And go through the phone book and see if you can find somebody named Randy Johnson.
Yeah, find a Twitter who's called Randy Johnson.
and tweet at them also. So, Adeline, what movie did we watch today?
The movie this week is Toy Story Dos.
The second
in the
story
Toy
of
Story
toys.
quadrilogy.
Yeah.
Is that the right word for there being 4 of them?
Yeah, it's called the Toy Story Quartology.
Quartology universe. The Toy Story universe.
The Toy Story cinematic universe.
Because every movie has to be a part of a universe, or else it's not good.
Well, it's the Pixar cinematic universe.
The Pixar animated universe.
Okay, speaking of animated cinematic universes, Have you seen the trailer for Scoob?
I have. I've only seen the little short version of it on Pinterest, where What's-Her-Face makes that really good joke about the evidence being her dad.
Okay, that was kind of... Okay, super quick. Take a quick break and watch the whole trailer, because I want to talk about it with you.
Okay, I love it. A lot.
Oh, you do?
I love it.
Okay, I was going to say that every single joke in it, besides that one at the end, kind of, is phenomenally unfunny.
You didn't like the IKEA joke? I thought that was funny.
No, that was so bad. It wasn't funny. I was so upset. Okay. Here's the main thing I want to talk about.
Okay.
Though. So this movie was originally gonna be about like the crew like working for some like big corporation, I guess, like going corporate and like renaming their like company Scoob, like an acronym that like stood for something, I guess. Yeah. So that was the original title of the movie, was Scoob, and it was like SCOOB, like an acronym. Yeah. And it was like, oh, this kind of makes sense because of what you said it was going to be. But now they, I guess, have just dropped that entirely.
Yeah.
So now the movie's just called Scoob?
Well, because...
instead of just Scooby-Doo?
Well, because you can't call it Scooby-Doo the movie, because there's been 12 of those.
That is not... Okay, but if you just call it Scooby-Doo... Or maybe like Scooby-Doo :
2019.
The Scoobening. Like, that's fine. It's just Scoob is stupid. Second of all, Will Forte as Shaggy is bad, and whoever's voicing Scooby-Doo fucking sucks at it.
Yeah, why didn't they just get the original voice actors who have literally been doing it since the beginning of time?
I know, and like, for some reason, Scooby-Doo just speaks like a human.
Yeah, he's just a man. Like, he's just the man in a dog body, and we're not gonna talk about it. I super love the character designs, though. Like, they're very good.
I do, too. I think the movie looks really cool, which is why it's exciting. They're saying they're gonna try to do a Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe.
I would be totally down. I would show up.
Yeah,
for that.
Which, especially with that art style, if we start getting, like... What's the one where they go on adventures?
What's Quest?
The show? Johnny Quest. That's what I was thinking of. We got like a cool Johnny Quest.
How did I get that from that?
You get it. Space Phantom, Johnny Quest, Flintstones. I'm naming all the weird ones first, I know, but like, I'd be so down. I'd be so down for this.
Yeah, that'd be super fun.
I still think this movie looks stupid. And I think it's going to be not funny.
Oh, I think it looks fun. I like it.
All right. We'll do a podcast episode on it when it comes out. Anyway, Toy Story 2. I think that Pixar is designing these movies to come out only when the new movie can look exactly twice as good as the previous one.
I know. Oh god, like even like that first, it looks so much better.
Yeah.
Like when you get like even like in the like, it's not really a dream sequence, but like when they're in the video game, I'll call it a dream sequence. Sure. And you got like all the robots in like space and stuff, and it looks so much better. But then when they're like in Andy's room and there's like this lighting, like this natural lighting in the room, and like the textures are also nice, like oh, it just looks like 10 billion times better.
No, yeah, this movie looks incredible, especially for like 1999. Like it honestly, really and truly, it holds up. If this movie came out today, I would be like,
ooh,
yeah. I mean, if Pixar came out with it today, I'd be like, "What the fuck's up?" But
I'd be like, "This looks like hot garbage." But
yeah, but if it were like Warner Brothers Animation,
I'd be like, "Good job, guys."
Well, no, I mean, if it were like Warner Brothers Animation, like who made Hoodwinked? If like the Hoodwinked guys came out with this movie, I'd be like, "Good on you." I think
that was Blue Sky. No, I think that was Sony.
No, it wasn't Sony. Hold on, Hoodwinked.
Who did Hoodwinked? Hoodwinked is such a good movie.
Hoodwinked is really good, but it's also maybe the ugliest movie anybody's ever created.
It's difficult to look at.
Okay, what do you think is harder to watch? Hoodwinked or Tron?
Definitely Tron, because I also don't like the movie.
Okay, fair enough.
Tron has no redeemable qualities.
We should do Tron on this podcast.
We should do Hoodwinked. What's wrong with you?
We could do both. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to figure out what the distributed. Who made it? Production company. Cool news. The Weinstein Company.
Oof.
Produced and distributed that movie.
Anyway, maybe that's why the sequel sucked so bad.
Oh, I forgot there was one.
Yeah, do you remember that? It was garbage and no one saw it.
Was that the one? What was that one about?
It was when it's them joining the Frogs like organization to help fairy tale people.
Oh, that's right. But I was getting it confused with the Surf's Up sequel where there were just a bunch of professional wrestlers in it for some reason.
Well, but that was straight to DVD. Like, that was just a cash grab. This was, like, in theaters, and no one saw it.
Are you sure? I think the sequel is also that way.
What?
I think the sequel to Hoodwink 2 was also direct-to-video.
No, it was in theaters, I remember.
Oh god, look at the poster to this dang movie.
Yeah, it's bad.
It looks so awful. I'm gonna post it on our Twitter, the poster to Hoodwink 2, because it's like the worst poster in the world.
Well, it's like, because the animation was already ugly, but the movie was good enough despite its animation, and the sequel, when the movie was bad, and the animation was also bad, it was just bad all around.
Wow, okay. Look at the cast listing on this trailer. So, start off Glenn Close. And then after Glenn Close, Cheech and Chong
don't they play Hansel and Gretel?
Maybe. Cheech and Chong build above Bill Hader. Who is billed above Amy Poehler, who is billed above Martin Short.
Oh my gosh.
Like, what? Did Bill Hader play the wolf?
Short?
Yeah,
what?
Did Bill Hader take over Patrick Warburton's part?
I think so, because I remember there was somebody else played the wolf, because I watched it on Cartoon Network when I was like 12.
Right.
I was maybe like 14, actually, but...
Yeah, nobody can do Patrick Warburton. Patrick Warburton's the only person on Earth who can do Patrick Warburton.
Does Amy Poehler play Red?
I don't know, let me look. Because it was Anne Hathaway in the original one. Okay, let's see.
We're just gonna talk about Hoodwinked for a little bit.
Okay.
We gotta stop doing this with Pixar movies, where we just talk about, like, stupid garbage for, like, 45 minutes, and then we rush through what we're actually talking about with the movie.
Right. Okay, Hayden Panettiere played Red.
I have no idea.
For some reason, I don't really either. She's like a young actress who's like kind of been around for a while.
She did a good job.
No, in the second one.
Oh, in the second one.
I always want to say Hayden Penitentiary, but that's not right.
But that's what she got called by bullies in elementary school.
Okay. Oh, okay. So Patrick Warburton is still doing the Big Bad Wolf.
Oh.
He just doesn't get billing on the poster, I guess.
They just said, fuck him.
Okay, Bill Hader is listed as playing Hansel. I can't figure out who plays Gretel, though.
Maybe that's Amy Poehler?
Okay, yeah, Amy Poehler is Gretel. Okay, so that's pretty fun. Hansel and Gretel being Bill Hader and Amy Poehler. That's a fun decision.
Fun.
Joan Cusack plays Verushka the Witch. And Joan Cusack doesn't get billing on the poster either. That's cool. Anyway, speaking of Joan Cusack, Toy Story 2.
Toy Story 2, directed by Joan Cusack.
No, Joan Cusack plays...
Joan Cusack.
Yeah, Joan Cusack plays Jessie, Adeline, you swine.
And also directed Toy Story 2.
Untrue. John Lasseter did. We're talking about sex predators a lot on this episode. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, okay, the first one was your fault, and 100% your fault, and I just had to sit in the backseat of the car while you drove the car off a cliff. But this one isn't anybody's fault.
Here's a new rule. We can't mention more than 3 sex predators in one episode of the podcast from now on. That's the limit. Did
Randy Jorgensen do something that I don't know about?
No, we started with the ShamWow guy, and then we went to Harvey Weinstein, and then we went to John Lasseter.
But Harvey Weinstein was just like a blip. It was just like really quick. We just did really good. It was out of the way.
Okay, anyway.
See, we're only in trouble if we now bring up Kevin Spacey. Then we're
Adeline, shut up. You already did it. We're past our quota now.
Damn it, God.
We're gonna get canceled.
Oh, now I gotta fill out the form. Corporate's gonna be on my ass.
We're gonna get canceled because of you, and I don't want to get canceled.
Anyway, Toy Story 2.
Okay.
I'm talking about like the space dream sequence at the beginning.
Right.
I have this funny moment of like word association when there's that shot where like Buzz like crashes and there's all those robots around him and like the robots open up and 2 robots come out and they open up and 2 more robots come out. And all I can think about is that one like when they're talking about like the 500 Mario and they're like 500 discrete robots. Like that's just all I can think about.
Or Super Mario 128, you mean?
Yeah, the generating power of 500 discrete robots.
You know what? Super Mario 128 walked so that Toy Story 2 could run. I think Toy Story 2 came out first.
Can you play Super Mario 128? Is that
no, it wasn't a game. It was just a tech demo.
I know, just to show you they could generate 128 discrete Marios.
But yeah, like they get so much more creative in this movie with like the lighting. Because, like, the great examples are, like, when his glow-in-the-dark armor is, like, on when he's running through that hallway is so cool.
Yeah.
And, like, the really warm natural light in Andy's bedroom is really cool.
It's so good.
And, like,
the lighting on the elevator, where you get, like, that yellow, ominous lighting.
That, like, gnarly yellow color. And then at the very end, they set that, like, last chase with the airplane, like super at a time when it's like just after the sun has set, so there's still like a little bit of light coming through, but it's not all the way dark yet.
It's like when it's like the sun isn't there but the sky is still like blue. It's really good.
Yeah, it's incredible. And like it just like the power that they have with whatever new technologies have been pioneered in the last 5 years.
Whatever program it is, it's crazy.
Like new lighting engine. Yeah, it looks so much better. I love Woody in this opening sequence.
I know.
Where, like, he's just, like, flipping out about everything. And I like... One of the things I wrote down is that I really like Bo and Buzz's sort of dynamic in this scene.
I know.
Where it's like they're both these people, like Buzz is like his best friend and Bo is like his girlfriend, but they both know him really well and they know that he's just like this.
Yeah, they know just, he's just freaking out.
Yeah, and they both are kind of like working together to be like, okay, Woody, like it's okay.
It's gonna be fine.
Like, and there's that moment where like after he gets put on the shelf and he's like not talking to them, where like Bo and Buzz exchange this look like, oh, he's not okay.
Yeah, so something has changed.
Yeah, but it's just, I don't know, it's cool because it's not necessarily like Bo and Buzz like have a friendship that's at least explored in this movie, you know, but they have a connection to each other, and I feel like those little moments like say volumes about their relationship to each other, you know.
Oh, totally. They sort of definitely build like the family of the toys, which is super vital to what we're gonna basically be teaching the audience later, that like whatever happens, it's important to have your family and the people that you support around you. So if it's just like those little character interactions that just do so much. Like, even Woody is a great example in this scene. Like, even while he is panicking, he is still, like, telling Buzz, like, what to do when he is gone, because he genuinely cares, and he's gonna be gone, and he's not gonna be able to take care of things. He's like, make sure everyone goes to the seminar with Mr. Speak and Spell about if a part of you gets swallowed. Like, he still cares so much.
Yeah, he's still thinking about all that stuff.
He's still trying to get everyone to go to the goddamn seminars.
Yeah, I know. They kind of dropped that thread of, like, Woody being obsessed with these, like, safety briefings.
They work.
I wish we got to see more of those.
Yeah, I do. I get that we have to go on, like, an adventure because it's a movie, but I would like it if we just, like, went through, like, a regular day of the Toys' life and all the stupid seminars and stuff like that. I think that would be great. Like, just one of the animated shorts. Just one of them.
Yeah,
I just want just, like, the average day.
I want to see more of Woody being, like, really, really irritating.
Can we make Woody as unlikable as possible?
No, there's a difference between being irritating and being unlikable.
Yeah.
We all love him and we know him, but part of that is just knowing that we have to put up with him when he's, like, at a 10 and, like, trying to make sure everybody's going to his stupid seminar about what you should do.
If you can't handle Woody when he's giving a seminar about toy safety, then you don't get him at his... good Woody.
Yelling in a funny way.
Yelling because he found his cowboy hat, Woody.
Right. Oh, shoot. Oh, and I think something that's a part of that whole, like, dynamic that I think is really funny is that after Woody gets sort of kidnapped by Wayne Knight, Al...
by evil Clint McElroy.
I've always said that if you were going to make an Adventure Zone movie, you should have Mark Hamill play Clint McElroy. But now I'm picturing Wayne Knight playing the role instead. And that's really funny.
No, he plays evil Clint McElroy.
Anyway, but, like, after that, when they're, like, all back in the room and, like, freaking out and trying to figure out what they should do, they're, like, decentralized, you know? There are, like... a whole bunch of different people who are, like, all doing different stuff, and, like, Potato Head and Ham are trying to, like, recreate their crime scene, and Rex is over in another part, like, drawing pictures of the guy and, like, knocking stuff over, and then Buzz comes out from a corner doing his totally own thing, and it's like, guys, can you cool it for a second? Like, it's like they've lost their, like, center, like, the whole structure of their, like... hierarchy, I guess. Not hierarchy, that's the wrong words. Yeah, they're, like, organizational center. It's just, like, gone, and they all just, like, crumble, you know?
If they had gone to the goddamn seminars, then they would know what to do.
About what to happen if Wayne Knight kidnaps you or a part of you.
You or one of your parts. I remember... Oh, you were talking about... This is a conversation we had a long time ago, so I don't remember what side either of us were on. But we're talking about Toy Story 4 and how Bo looks, like, super made out of porcelain when she didn't in the first movie. Right. In this movie, she definitely looks like she's made of porcelain. I don't know if that was a creative decision they made in between these movies, but, like, you could totally tell that she's, like, a porcelain doll in this movie rather than just, like, a Barbie.
No, yeah, I think she was always a porcelain doll. I just don't think they had the technical capabilities to make that really clear in the first one. I don't think they had a lot of different, like, textures they could play around with.
Yeah, because that's, like, 100% texture based, and I don't think they had one texture and they knew how to use it.
Right. There's that moment where I should say the, like, dream sequence.
It used to scare the crap out of me when I was little.
Did that really bother you?
It
made me uncomfortable when I was a kid, but it didn't really scare me.
Yeah, no, scare is the wrong word. It also just made me deeply uncomfortable. Like, I was like, I have to get through this scene before I can have fun.
Right. But there's, like, that moment where, like, he kind of, like, wakes up and he's, like, up on the top and he, like, looks down and they're, like, playing cards. I didn't notice that they're playing cards with only aces of spades when he looks down until literally this time I watched it. Somehow that never registered to me. Because that wasn't something I thought about as a little kid when I watched this movie.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, they're playing cards.
And I just, like, accepted it for so long that I, like, that didn't stick out as being weird to me until literally this the 22nd
right
year of my
now.
life. Yeah. And it's kind of cool how they like sort of ease you into the idea that it might be a dream, because it's just like, what are they doing? They're not playing cards. That's only one card.
They're all like holding cards, and there's just like a pile of cards in the center, and they're all the ace of spades.
Yeah. And Adeline, they're all aces of spades because he's alone and he feels lonely.
Wow.
He's alone up there, so it's the ace is like one.
Yeah, and the spade is a
Woody
shovel.
feels like he's been deserted.
And Woody feels like he's dug himself into a hole.
Yeah, sure.
i.e. the spade.
I just want to acknowledge that Andy's mom just coming into his room and taking shit to put in the garage sale is so whack. That is the worst. Andy's mom, you shouldn't be doing that, because what if he really liked that weird little roller skate car that you threw away?
Well, no, they were roller skates that you put on your shoes, and they were made out of rusty metal or something? I don't know.
Right. I don't know. I'm just saying, you should talk to your kid before you give their stuff away.
She specifically waits till Andy is at cowboy camp to do the yard sale, which on some level I get. It's harder to like clean the house when you have all your kids there. But on another level, I'm like, hey, that's his stuff.
Yeah, you can't just like purge your kid's room without their consent. That's so whack.
She doesn't take anything important. She takes a puzzle, and she takes like the baby stack 'em rings. And that's like it. She also takes what's-his-face. She takes Wheezy.
Yeah, she takes Wheezy, who's the best. I fucking love Wheezy.
I fucking love Wheezy. Goodbye, Woody.
Bye, Woody. My favorite moment is after Woody rescues him, and he just goes, "Bless you, Woody." I think that's so funny.
I like it when Woody gets kidnapped. And they, like, bring Wheezy up to, like, talk to Buzz. He's like, go get my buddy back. And there's just, like, two toys, like, supporting him behind him. Right. And it's just really good.
I don't know. There's something interesting to me about the fact that, like, Woody and all the rest of the toys have completely ignored Wheezy for years, presumably. Like, he used to be kind of part of their crew, but he got shelved, and they just forgot about him. And yet somehow Wheezy is like not holding a grudge about it at all.
And he gets it. He's totally cool about it.
Yeah. I don't know, he just has such a low self-esteem that he's like not even mad that they just totally abandoned him.
Bless you, Woody.
And that's what I think makes it what makes it feel nice that he's so appreciative whenever they start paying attention to him.
Yeah. In fact, I feel a song coming on. I've got the black lung.
I wish Ben Stiller was Wheezy.
As good as the animation gets in this movie, and it gets really, really good. Like the important humans start to look a little bit better. Andy definitely looks way better than he did in the first movie, and Evil Dinosaur Man definitely looks pretty good. But, like, characters like Andy's mom still...
Wait, hold on. Evil Dinosaur Man?
He plays the villain in Jurassic Park, doesn't he?
Oh, that's what you mean. Okay.
Yeah. Evil Dinosaur Man.
Okay, Jackson. Okay, fine. Wayne Knight is his name.
Wayne Knight. He sounds like he's Batman, but he's not. But... yeah, like, their character models look really, really good. But then you get to, like, this kind of, like, less seen, less important characters, like Andy's mom, and they still look a little worse around the edges.
Yeah, I would argue that Andy still looks really bad in this movie.
He doesn't look good.
I think Al looks perfectly fine. I think Al and the old guy look great. Everyone else clearly didn't get the same level of attention that they did.
Well, and I think... what's with this weird theme in animation of giving, like, young boys, like, the weirdest shaped head possible? And what comes to mind is just, like, Jimmy Neutron and also Andy from Toy Story. But, like, what's up with that? Like, these aren't human-shaped heads. What 10-year-olds do you know? Because I think they're aliens in disguise.
Right.
They're robots in disguise.
I am still... you know what I kind of wish they would have done? There was a rumor going around for Toy Story 4... that they were gonna have, like, cameos from, like, some licensed toys, and they would get, like, Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans to play, like, action figures for, like, a short... not, like, to be main characters, but just, like, for a gag.
As a goof, yeah.
I think that would be really funny. I wish they would do that more often. If they could get the Optimus Prime guy to come in and be Optimus Prime in Toy Story, I think that would be great.
Do you mean Winnie the Pooh?
Are they the same guy?
They're the same guy.
Okay, cool. Good.
That's the joke. And he came to Spokane one time.
Oh, really? What was he doing?
I think he came to Lilac Con.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, the Lilac City Comic Con. Oh, yeah. I wish I would have gone. That would have been good.
Yeah.
I would have asked him to say funny things.
Pooh, or was the guy who voiced Tigger, or maybe it was both of them. I don't remember.
I would ask him to say funny things in Pooh's voice. I'm sure he loves it when people do that.
Gay rights. Who said gay rights recently in a character voice? It was very funny.
I would be like, oh, hey, can you say something about eating ass in Pooh's voice? And I bet he would be really into it. I bet he would think that's super funny.
Have you seen the video of someone asking Mark Ruffalo to say ooh woo, and he goes, what is that?
No, I haven't.
Well, there's also the really Vine of Mark Ruffalo where he goes, hey, you're on Vine, and he goes, I'm on what? Which is also very good.
Mark Ruffalo is so funny to me because he's this huge activist. He's got so much
dad energy, but he's like not that old.
I know. But he's like this huge activist. He's constantly posting about like climate reform and like active in government and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. But like he's also just like, it feels like that like takes up all of his energy because whenever somebody's like Vine, he's like,
what?
Excuse me? Like he's just totally unaware.
I'm the Hulk, not the Vine.
I think that Joan Cusack in this movie, playing Jessie, is giving maybe the all-time greatest vocal performance in an animated movie.
I know, she does such a good job.
I can't think of anybody whose performance I enjoy and am genuinely moved by more than this.
Jessie is such a good character, and I really can't like put my finger on like why she's such a good character, because like it seems like a pretty kind of basic character arc where it's like she is a person who's been abandoned and there's that fear of being abandoned again, and that's what's driving her character motivation. Right. But just the way that she plays Jessie is just so good, and I think it's because we start Jessie as such a silly character, but like in an endearing and kind of like realistic way. Like I think Jessie is just like the perfect embodiment of like a horse girl, you know, of like those girls in elementary school who just love horses and are huge dorks, and every recess they're playing like horse adventure. Like I think Jessie just like really captures that like I don't want to say country, but like that kind of like ragamuffin-y like aesthetic, and she does it so well. And then to take that character and then put them in such a dramatic, emotional scenario and do such a good delivery that she does, like it's just so effective.
Right. And I think there's a comparison to be made between this performance and Vincent D'Onofrio's in Men in Black, in the sense that like it's just like playing super broad, like playing huge and over the top, but in such a committed way that you can really sell it, you know? And I think the tone of Toy Story is generally fairly naturalistic, you know? Like, it's not like a super snappy sort of dialogue in Toy Story. Yeah. And I think, I don't know what it is that, like, but she's just going, like, so broad and so huge when she's like, everybody knows your name, Woody. Yeah. And but it works, you know? It's not, like, goofy or cringy. It doesn't take you out of it. It's just, like, she's just this ridiculous, like,
that's just
fun-loving person. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also love the moment where they introduce the Prospector for the first time, and he's like, turn me around, Bullseye. He's like in intensive care and like in a full body cast or something. I think it's so funny.
A little bit before that, we kind of skipped over some stuff. These are just little things that I really enjoyed, but like that scene where where Woody's going into the garage sale to save Wheezy, and you have all the toys, like, kind of just doing commentary from the window. I don't know. I love this, like, rapport that they kind of have with the mom, where they're, like, rooting on the mom. Like, I don't know. I just really enjoy it. Like, it kind of cements the toys as a part of Andy's family a little bit. Yeah. Which they kind of explore a little bit in Toy Story 3. Like, when the toys go missing, and you have that kind of, like, tension in the family a little bit. Like, I feel like they kind of explore just a little bit. But I don't know, I just thought it was really enjoyable to be like, yeah, way to go, Andy's mom, when they're, like, down looking at the garage sale.
Can I tell you about a Pixar theory that I have?
What?
Here's my reading of Toy Story. Here's my galaxy brain conspiracy theory.
Okay.
I think that Woody did not belong to the mom. Because if he did, then I don't think the toys would be saying Andy's mom. I think they would be saying Janet or whatever her name is. Yeah, which I think would also have been really funny if they were like, way to go, Sharon.
Sharon.
But I think that Woody was passed down from the dad's side, and I think the dad died. And that's
in a
why
fire.
I think that Toy Story 0 should be about Woody dealing with the death of his owner, which is Andy's dad.
I know you're kind of goofing, but I would also show up for it.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's totally unreasonable. I don't know. I came up with a really good pitch for a Monsters Inc. sequel the other day.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm just saying my girlfriend. I'm not going to say it. My girlfriend, someday wife, is probably going to be working in animation for a career. So I'm not going to rule out the possibility that maybe she or I will be able to pitch that to somebody someday. But I just want everybody to know that I have a really good idea for a Monsters Inc. sequel.
So buckle up.
So if anybody wants to hear it, who could get me in the room, just let me know.
Just open the window a crack and he'll sneak on in.
Also, I also have this pitch for Toy Story 0, but that's not as good as my Monsters Inc. sequel.
You gotta pick one. You gotta pick your battles.
Yeah. Anyway.
I really think we kind of talked about how, like, in our last episode about Toy Story, which you should go watch. You should go watch the one we talked about Toy Story. But, like, we talk about how, like, the theming has evolved, or in the first one, there isn't really a lot of theming.
Right.
And then in the second, third, and fourth, you get all this theming about being a family and about being a toy and, like, what that means, like, be there for a kid. And, I mean, we kind of get in the first one with, like, Woody wanting to get back and him wanting to go back even if he isn't played with. But, like, with this movie, we really hammer in that theme of, like, being a toy and being there for a kid. And, like, I think it's such a good idea to introduce these toys that have basically never been with a kid.
Mm.
And I just think that's such, like, this movie's so smart. Like, all of the character motivations are so good and so solid. Like, right. You have Jessie, who's been hurt before and doesn't want to get hurt again. You have Stinky Pete, who is just bitter from never being bought and never being played with. And it's just, it's such a cool concept to bring up and talk about, especially with Woody, who is like the knight in shining armor for, like, being a toy and being there for a kid. And I just think it's really so smart and really well done.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I think we mentioned this in the last episode too, but, like, the theming of Toy Story is really, really broad, you know?
Yeah.
You could apply it to a lot of different things. You could apply it to, like, parenthood. You could apply it to like having a career and, like, having a purpose in your life. You could apply it to, like, romantic relationships. I think there's a solid reading for. I've seen people apply it to religion before, which is an interesting reading.
One of them being our dad.
Right. But like, it's just, it's interesting the sort of needle they thread in these movies, that it's like they don't lean into any particular reading. They just let it sort of speak to these broad universal truths, you know? Yeah, I don't know. And, oh shoot, there was something else I was going to say. What was the last thing you said?
It's really well done. Character motivations.
Yeah, you're talking about theming and the themes
Jessie,
of
who's
it.
been hurt before, and the prospector who's just bitter from never being played with.
Oh, I was I remembered what it was. I was just getting distracted thinking about my Monsters Inc. sequel pitch. And
Listen, shut up. We all know it's really good. Shut your mouth. I was gonna say, I like that now that we're in the sequel, I feel like the creators are more comfortable with these characters, that they can kind of, like, change them a little bit now. I love that Rex has just become a gamer, and I think that's so good.
So good. Can we talk about, like, just how much of so my favorite part of this, not my favorite part, but a gag that's really good in this movie is like Rex finding his like Nintendo Power in the toy store.
Yeah.
And like reading it and being really excited about it. But I just want to acknowledge how much of a racket Nintendo Power was. Like,
oh, absolutely. It was hot garbage. Well, so what they would do is they would make a video game that was so goddamn hard that you couldn't beat it without buying a piece of paper that told you how to beat the game.
That told you where all the secrets were. Early like video game industry stuff is just like bonkers, and you're like, why did we do this? It's so whack, and it's just like old video games are the worst because they're just
they're
like,
kind of all really bad. Like I know, like
I could count on one hand the amount of NES games that are actually really good.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I know that people love the original Zelda, but like, looking at it from any perspective, it's kind of hot garbo. Like, I
disagree about the original Zelda.
I understand as a kid, it was cool to like explore, but as an adult who knows what good video game design is, and having video games that I enjoy playing, to just like be like, you're in a field now. It's like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And it's like, I don't know, find a sword, bitch, figure it out. Where's the temple? Fuck you.
I think...
Buy our book!
I think, that's the thing. I think with the addition of a Nintendo Power magazine that gives you a little map where all the dungeons are, I think that makes it a great game. I think without that, that's the thing that you need the most to make that like genuinely
I've sat
really
down
great
and
game.
tried to play the original Zelda at least 3 times, and I don't have any fun because I don't know where I'm supposed to be going, or what the fuck is happening, or really how to fight any of the bad guys. So I just kind of wander around, and then I die, and then I go, well, what the fuck was I supposed to do? And there's no save function, because it's like the first video game ever made.
No, that was the first video game with a save function, famously.
Oh, it was? Well, it's got a save function, so that's...
Adeline, I have really bad news for you.
Yeah.
I think you're a fake gamer girl.
Oh my god. But I have Flappy Bird on my phone still.
Oh, you do?
It's still on there. No, I don't.
Well, it's Adeline! You could have bailed yourself out! You're still a fake gamer girl!
God damn it! God.
Here's what you need to do to redeem yourself.
Yeah.
Should I
talk about Bioshock for 45 minutes?
No. Bioshock is out.
What?
Adeline, shush. Say something specific about Fortnite.
I like that it has color in it.
No. I want you to, like, just quote that you know one of the mechanics in Fortnite. Use some lingo.
PUBG.
Wrong. Adeline, you're on thin ice.
I like that the dance moves, and I like unicorn hammer, and I like pink bear hat, and I like different rarities of drop items, and I like 360 no scope, and I like the guns.
There you go. That's it. Okay, we're in the clear. Okay, I think we're in the clear. I think you saved yourself.
Okay, good.
Where were we in the movie?
I don't even know. Oh, Rex is a gamer.
Right. That's right. Okay, yeah. Rex is a real gamer girl, I think.
He is a real gamer girl.
But like, yeah, I don't know. This is just good, and the fact that he's I
love talking about how smart this movie is. Like, they keep making all these just like little creative decisions that are just so good. Like, the scene where they're in the traffic cones crossing like the 6 lanes of traffic is so good and so smart. Like, it's just such a good creative decision. It creates such a cool scene of them like walking across the street and stopping and like forcing the cars to like swerve in different directions and then walking and then stopping, and this whole time they're basically blind, and it's so good. It's such a creative scene.
Yeah. No, this script is like supremely tight. It's excuse me. It's like almost Hot Fuzz levels of like I'm trying to think of a good way to describe like
Concise?
The fact that they never introduce a new element into the story without bringing it back later in some meaningful way, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like every tiny little piece of like information about the world that gets introduced becomes a part of like the story moving you forward towards that climax, you know?
Like, I mean, they do it so much. Like with Toys Owl Barn. Toys Owl Barn. Al's Toy Barn. They establish as a goof that is directly across from evil Clint McElroy's apartment building.
Right.
And then when everyone gets separated from Buzz sees that the apartment building is right across the street. And we establish that the way the toys get across that 4 lanes of traffic is under the traffic cones. And then when Buzz catches up with them, we see him get out from underneath the traffic cone. Like, it's all these little things. Like, even how they get into the store is that they all have to jump at once to make the sensor go off. And it's kind of a goof. And then later, Buzz can't get out of the store because he's not heavy enough to make the thing go off. Like, everything is just comes back and is set up so well.
And that's when Zurg...
Okay, I love.
So let's talk
about
fun
thing.
Like the level of Star Wars parody in this movie.
Before it was okay.
Yeah, it's so funny to me because there's so many Star Wars sound effects at the beginning. First of all,
absolutely. They're like, hey, this isn't really anything like Star Wars, but we're gonna use so many Star Wars sound effects that you kind of think that it is.
Right, and then like obviously it's like, you know, the whole Buzz and Zurg thing is like a complete Star Wars like homage. Yeah, but like. I don't know. It's just so funny to me that there's that much Star Wars in this movie.
I know. It's a lot. Like, before they even, like, bought Star Wars, I think this is before Pixar was even a part of Disney. They were already just like, can we make fun of Star Wars a whole bunch? Can we do that?
Pixar was always distributed by Disney.
Okay. Well, yeah, but I don't know how that would like go with like copyright claim. I don't know how that stuff works. Yeah.
Well, I know that Lucasfilm and Disney had a relationship for a really long time before they like bought the company outright.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, in this sort of situation, I don't think that even if there was no relationship between the two ideas, I don't think they're doing anything legally actionable.
Probably not.
I mean, you know, like, even if parody wasn't legal, like, just having a character say, I am your father, and the other one saying no is not, it's not a trademarked idea, you know?
Yeah, you don't know that.
You're allowed to do that if you want to. Anyway, just a second. There's this great moment where, like, when Woody, like, is first, like, sort of getting in an argument with them about whether or not he's going to go to the museum. And, like, tensions are kind of high already, and then Al comes back into the apartment, and they all have to, like, get in their boxes and, like, reset. And Jessie's, like, super nervous, and Prospector tells her, like, Jessie, jump in. I promise you will come out of that box again. I was like, oh, shit. Like, that's a tough line.
That's a heavy line.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. A lot of people, when Toy Story 4 came out, said something along the lines of like, in Toy Story 4, they introduced kind of like the idea of privilege into the toy world. That like being with a kid is like kind of a privileged position, and like there are so many different like other ways to be, you know. But I think this movie is absolutely playing with that idea, you know.
Oh, totally.
There are so many lines where Prospector says to them, like, there are so many toys who have it so much worse than you, and you should be grateful for what you have, and like take pity on us poor souls, you know. And I don't think that's an idea that's unique to 4 at all. I think that's been kicking around in this franchise for a while now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think the Prospector, I think, is just such a great and like antithesis of Woody. Like, it's just to have this character who's basically never been played with, and like this is his one shot at doing anything really with his life.
Right.
And it's really interesting because I think there's in children's media there's this new and it's not really that new, but like the idea that like everyone is redeemable and you should try to redeem everyone, even if it's like the villain, because even if it's not realistic, because it's a good thing for children to learn that everyone can be redeemable. Right. And I think it's funny how this movie, first of all, I really like that when Woody goes, he's like, guys, I'm gonna go home with Andy with you. And he's like, hold on, I'm gonna bring these guys with me. Like, I think that's such a good, like, idea, and I love that Woody just, like, has it. Like, it's not this weird, like, moment of tension. It's like, but Woody, you're leaving us. He's just like, no, I got a solution. You all come with me. And I just love that the prospector's like, no, absolutely not. Like, I don't, that's just it's such a good character motivation. It's so good.
Yeah, here's what I like to believe. They sort of play that him, like, getting stuck with that little girl is, like, his eternal damnation.
Yeah.
But, like, I choose to think that when he gets played with by that little girl, his heart grew 3 sizes. Yeah. And he got to be, like, a wonderful and productive member of that.
Can we be in charge of making the Toy Story shorts? Because we got ideas.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to keep doing those.
I just want some toy seminars, and I want Stinky Pete having fun with a bunch of Barbies.
Right. I watched, I don't think I watched all of them. I should finish them off, though, because they're all on Disney Plus now. But, I watched the majority of them a little while ago. And I was not disappointed by them. They're not Toy Story movie quality, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But, like, there's one, I'm trying to remember what the context is. Oh, it's the Halloween special one, where it's like, the family goes on vacation and they're in a hotel room and they have to, like, get whatever. But they do a lot of, like, character work with Jessie that they haven't necessarily done in the 3rd and 4th movies. Mm-hmm. Where they're like, oh, she's got, like, this sort of trauma and, like, she's really upset by whenever she needs to be put in a box. So they've got this whole scene where, like, she is getting upset when she's about to be packed up in the suitcase, you know? Mm-hmm. And she's like, I know it's okay, but it's like, this is just a thing for me, and this is really stressful to, like, to be in a box like this, you know? And it's like, it's some cool ideas, and they're doing interesting character things with them, but it's still not quite as sharply and wittily and eloquently written as, like, a movie is, you know? And you're like, this is kind of a missed opportunity, you know? Like, I like what they're doing, I just wish it was better than, like, a 6.5 out of 10.
I wish this was in the movie, because I really like that. That's a really interesting concept.
Yeah, I don't know. And I hope they're doing a handful of, like, little Forky short films.
Yeah, I saw one of them on Disney Plus, and I was just snooping around.
That are, like, less than a minute long. I watched that first one, and it was dumb and lame.
This is just a real quick thing that's just about the Toy Story franchise as a whole. I loved Toy Story 3, and then the one thing that I didn't like about Toy Story 4 is that I don't like how they treated Bonnie. I feel like they made Bonnie a little bit of a brat, because she, like, loves Woody in Toy Story 3, and Toy Story 4, he's not the favorite anymore, but it just seemed really out of character to me. And I get that she's a child, and I get that children kind of, like, go through phases, but it just seemed like such a heel turn, and I didn't like it. And especially because it feels like it feels like Woody's like, oh, Bonnie's not as cool as Andy. I'd rather go with Bo Peep. See ya, you know?
Yeah. I mean, but don't you think that's his right to make that decision, though?
I think it's not. I guess it's not a criticism of Woody. It's a criticism of the story choice to have Bonnie not like Woody, you know, of that heel turn. Like,
but if you don't have that, what movie is there?
I don't know. maybe we should have made Toy Story 4. Maybe we were good.
You're wrong. How do you rank the Toy Story movies?
I feel like Toy Story 3 is maybe my favorite, and I think it's because... No, hold on. I think it's because it, like, came out when I was, like, at the point where I could really enjoy movies.
Right.
So I remember enjoying that one the most, even though I do think 1 and 2 are very, very good. Honestly, I think my favorite is number 2.
Right.
And then number 1, and then number 3, and then number 4.
Toy Story 4 is your least favorite one?
I really like Toy Story 4, but I think I liked what they did in Toy Story 3 better.
You like Okay. Here's my ranking.
Okay.
2.
Yep.
4.
Oh.
3, 1.
What?
Fight me about it. Let's get in a fight.
No, I get it.
Okay.
Yeah, thinking about it, I don't think Toy Story 1 is my number 2. I probably go 2, 3, 4, 1. Yeah, I think... No, okay. I agree with you there. I think Toy Story 1 is maybe the worst one, and I think it's because... We already talked about this when we talked about the movie, but it's just not as developed as it could be, and it obviously came along with, like, production struggles. So, yeah, I think Toy Story 1 is definitely maybe the worst one. And that being said, it's still an amazing film.
Oh, yeah, totally. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just surprised to hear you beefing with Toy Story 4, because I thought we were both on the same page. 4.
And I think what it comes from is that I just loved the ending of Toy Story 3 so much. It felt like such a good ending. Like, it wrapped up the story. I feel like it gave all the characters, like, an ending that they really deserved. Like, I felt it was just such a good wrap up to the whole trilogy. And then I was surprised that they were even one. And then when the fourth one totally disrupted that whole kind of happily ever after, I was just a little bit upset by it. And I don't think that I'm mad about it. I don't know. I don't think I liked it as much.
I don't think Toy Story is really a happily ever after kind of series, you know? I mean, with the exception of 1, I think it's mostly about...
change.
Yeah, it's about change, and it's about toys who have to deal with difficult situations and learning to find happiness in them, you know? I think it would almost be, to me, personally, I think having that decision to, like, disrupt it again after that perfect happy ending in
3.
In Toy Story 3 is, like, more true to the story than just having it end there. Because that's I mean, like you said, that's what these movies are about change and about dealing with the fact that life moves forward. And I don't know, they're weirdly kind of about mortality.
I mean, they definitely are, yeah. Oh, dude, like in every single movie, they talk about how you're gonna end up in the trash one day. They're absolutely about mortality.
Yeah, no, they're a lot of times they're like weirdly existential movies. And, like, I think that's, like, a big part of it, you know? As you grow up and as you, like, graduate high school and, like, start to move on from things and, like, suddenly there are, like, whole parts of your life that are behind you, it's, like, you know, you've got to move forward, you know? You always got to move on to the next thing, and sometimes it sucks that you have to, and you wish you could stick with whatever that old thing was, but that's, like, a really important part of living as a human, you know? Is adapting to whatever your next thing is. And I think that's a really important element of Toy Story as an idea.
Yeah.
Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. I think we'll definitely do a podcast about number 4, about just while we're talking about it.
Right.
I think, honestly, I one of my other beefs with Toy Story 4 is that I didn't like how much it kind of... I'm not upset that it centered a lot on Woody. I think it was really cool to, like, experience a lot of what Woody was going through all of those changes. I thought that was great. I didn't like...
I think you are upset. I think you're mad, Adeline.
No, what?
Never mind. Sorry, that was a bad joke. Continue.
What I was totally fine with them centering on Woody. I really liked the character development that Woody had. I think giving Woody so much attention, going through this change, was really good and really smart. I guess I was just upset that we kind of didn't talk about the rest of the toys, like, at all. Like, Jessie, Mr. Potato Head, like, all of the other characters are just, like, not talked about at all when they are also deeply affected by this change. We talk about Buzz a little bit in the B-plot, but it just... I didn't even like Buzz in Toy Story 4, because he just had this, like, thing where Woody is,
Buzz had no arc at all.
Yeah, he was like, follow the voice in your head. And then it was just goofs about the little sound player, and that's all it was. Like, I feel like it didn't feel like a Toy Story movie. It felt like adventures with Woody, which is fine. I'm happy to go on an adventure with Woody, but I want the Toy Story family, you know? And I was kind of upset that we didn't explore those ideas that we could have with the rest of all the other characters.
Here's the Toy Story short I want.
Okay.
I want Woody at the carnival trying desperately to put together a seminar about safety or something.
About safety and all for these, free roaming toys.
Yeah, and all these like vagrant nomadic toys just could not give less of a shit.
No, I want them to care. I want them to be like, oh, no one's ever told us how to be safe before.
Oh, okay.
No one's ever cared about our safety before.
I guess you could take it two ways. Mine was the more cynical version,
You could do both.
Well,
you start with the cynical, and that's like the goof, and then Woody gets disheartened, and then he finds one toy that's like really appreciative, and then he like does it, and then he finds a bunch of toys that are really happy to have his information.
Good. Okay.
TM,
cool.
TM.
We are so fucking good at Pixar pitches.
I know. God, Pixar, please, for the love of God, hire us.
Imagine if Pete Docter listened to this podcast and was just like, "This is it.
We found them.
These are the ideas we've been looking for.
The golden children." That's what they'll call us.
The comeback kids, by which we mean the first time
They come here,
kids.
kids. They come here. They came here.
Okay, anyway, where were we in the movie? Okay. This movie, I think, is near flawless. Yeah. Except for that weird gag where Buzz starts to give a dramatic speech and the American flag shows up behind him. And they use it as a transition into the next scene.
Yeah.
But, like, the next scene is just, like, an American flag on the TV in the background of that next scene.
No, that was the thing. That was, like, at the end of the broadcast day, it would just be, like, here's an image, bye.
Right, I know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's weird.
It is weird.
I'm just saying it's weird, and I don't think it really lands.
You know what's really stupid? Is that they have that goof, and they thought it was a very funny goof, because it's like, oh, when you give a big speech, it's like, oh, patriotic and American flag. Like, that's a funny goof in America. But that goof doesn't land in literally any other country. Like, so for for all the other releases to other countries, they just made this flag that had like the Earth on it, and they put it behind Buzz. But then the joke, is just like completely lost. So it doesn't make any sense. It was just a bad idea. Like funny goof guys.
It's kind of like, for example. It's kind of like, for example, taking the Men in Black and putting them in England.
In any other country, really.
Yeah. Anyway. Should we? I'm trying to decide if we should do an episode about Men in Black International. I don't think we should. I wouldn't even have enough to say about it because it just fucking sucks and it's boring.
There's like a sweet spot of like bad movies that are funny because you have things to talk about and do have some redeeming qualities, because then you can dream about what could have been. And then there's just bad movies like Justice League that are just bad and have no redeeming qualities. Yeah.
I still think we should do Justice League. I would like to talk about that. I can talk about
Justice League. Can we talk about that weird shot where you could see Superman's mustache and his forehead is cut out of the frame? It's a good shot.
This is like an unpopular thing among like intellectual film circles. Yeah. I am so deep into the whole release the Snyder Cut thing. I want it so bad. Because it would at least be funny. It would at least be interesting. I mean, we love Batman.
God, I could watch Batman vs. Superman every day of my life. And it's not because it's a good movie.
Yeah. And, like, if there was... And because of that, like, Justice League is the most disappointing movie I think I've ever seen in theaters.
I was so excited for Justice League because I was like, this is going to be the best train wreck that anyone's ever seen. And then it was just boring.
It just so sucked, and it didn't make any sense, and was just stupid. Yeah. And, like, I want to see that Snyder Cut. That version where Zack Snyder was, like, playing, like, doing this crazy, like, ruminations on the existence of God and humanity, and, like...
How many horses do you think would have been in it?
Yeah, like, and goddammit, apparently, like, 75% of what actually showed up in the movie was, like, reshot by Joss Whedon, and apparently Zack Snyder shot a whole movie, and there is a Snyder Cut that exists without special effects,
I want it really badly.
And Jason Momoa has seen it and says it's really good.
I trust Jason Momoa.
God damn it, I want it so bad. And, like, everybody points to the whole release the Snyder Cut thing as, like, oh, typical, like, nerd entitlement and, like, petitioning things to be different because they didn't like it. But it's not the same.
It's different.
It's not the same. Because it's a movie that exists fully.
It already exists.
It's there. We just want to see
director's cuts are already a thing. It's not like I'm demanding that you make another movie or that you re-release it in the theaters. Just give it to me and I won't tell anybody about it.
Right. And god damn it, I want to see it so bad. Gosh. Apparently there was a lot more Cyborg stuff in it.
Good, because Cyborg is such a good character. And they didn't do anything with him except have him, like, do that dumb thing with Superman with, like, the explosive or whatever. I don't remember what the fuck happens in that movie, and neither does anybody else on the planet, because it was a boring, bad movie.
Remember when Cyborg and the Flash had to dig up Superman's grave?
I don't actually.
That was actually the only funny part of that movie, I think.
No, but the only funny part
when they were like,
oh,
we gotta get Superman back. That's like part of it. And they were like, Barry and whatever Cyborg's name is, you gotta literally go to a graveyard and dig up Superman's grave. And they were just like, fuck, okay. That was pretty funny.
The only genuinely funny part of that movie was the only part where they were trying to be funny, where Superman is like, I'm glad to be alive, and the thing explodes, and he, like, hits the wall, and he's like, I wish I were dead.
I know, it's so funny.
That's the best part of the whole hilarious. Movie. It's genuinely hilarious. The rest of it is boring nonsense.
Yeah, I think the line is, like, I'm pretty happy to be alive, and then he, like, explodes and, like, hits a wall really hard, and he says, I take it back, I want to be dead.
Yeah.
It's so fucking
and it's really good. God, why can't the whole movie just be that?
Okay. So.
I love...
Toy Story 2.
Yeah. There's lots of things that I love. I think that introducing Zurg is a really funny idea to play off of. Because we've established that Buzz is like the hero, and he is 100% convinced that he is that hero. But we know that there's a villain, so to introduce that villain, who, like, 100% thinks that they are the villain, is a super fun and good decision. And I'm glad that they did it. Even if they didn't really do a lot with it, I'm glad that they did it.
Yeah. And I think showing Buzz, or having Buzz sort of square off with another, like, default version of Buzz is so cool, because you get to see, like, really explicitly his character development, right?
Yeah.
You get to have your character from this movie, like, almost literally interact with themselves.
Yeah.
The version of themselves from the beginning of the first movie. And have them, like, roll their eyes at them and being like, ooh, yeesh, was I really like that? Yeah. And I think it's so cool. And I think Buzz has, like, just a super cool and smart arc in this movie. Where he just, like, really doubles down on being a friend and a cool guy.
Oh, man. I love that scene where they go to rescue Woody. And you just have this total reversal of their character dynamics between Buddy and Wuz. I just called him Buddy.
But you said Buddy and Wuz.
God, am I dyslexic? But the total character dynamic shift between Buzz and Woody, where you have basically Buzz preaching about what it means to be a toy, and, like, it doesn't matter if you get played with, what's important is being there for the kid, and Woody being like, well, what if I don't get played with? Like, it's kind of what we talked about in the first movie, but I think the reality has really hit Woody, that it's not about being replaced. It's not about someone else getting more love than you. It's about not getting any love at all, and I think that really scares Woody. And I just love how you have this change where Buzz has to basically give Woody a pep talk. And he's like, dude, this is everything that you stand for. How can you not do this?
Right. Yeah, it's so cool. That was, like, a big thematic idea and, like, emotional moment, but I'm just gonna say super quick that I really like the Barbies in this movie.
I know, I love the Barbies, too.
And, like, the way they're animated and the sound design of them, like, being super squeaky and stiff when they move is so funny.
It's so good. Well, I love, I'm gonna call him New Buzz, because I don't know what else to call him.
Right, but that's New and You Buzz.
And there's that part where they're, like, going through the vents, and he's like, he's like talking, he's like, why don't we just ride the elevator? We'll be expecting that. But he does like this hand movement where he like puts both his arms up, puts both his arms down, and then he runs away like an action figure, like he's shaped like an X, so he just like thunks down the air vent, and I think it's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
There's so much great like physical comedy in this movie. I know,
God, it's so good.
Yeah, okay. I just to defend the idea of going to the Toy Museum, though.
Yeah.
The Toy Museum sounds pretty lit.
It sounds dope as hell in Tokyo? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, imagine just being able to hang out in a Toy Museum in Tokyo where at night all the toys come to life and just, like, chill out forever. Yeah. That sounds tight as hell.
Hang out with
If I were Woody, I totally would have gone to the Toy Museum.
Sounds dope as hell.
I'm almost near the end of my notes here.
Me too.
My only I don't know. This is like almost a little bit of a CinemaSins-y thing to point out, but like the bit right at the end where first of all, Bullseye, a toy horse, catches up to an airplane on foot, and then Woody like spins his like lasso ring around and gets it on a bolt that's exactly the same size as it first try and swings off of it. That Jackson. Was like, no, okay, look, Adeline, it's just like, it was enough that it took me out of the movie.
Hey Jackson.
What?
I think you're CinemaSins.
But here's the thing, though. Is that this movie does, we mentioned it before, have a really naturalistic tone, right?
Yeah.
Like, it takes place very much in reality, you know? And I think part of committing to that is making sure that the things that happen on screen are, like, practical, you know? And I think, I'm not saying that it was a horrible thing, but I think that is a moment where that breaks down a little bit for me, where I feel a fantastical element coming through in the movie rather than being immersed in the sort of like pseudo reality of the world they're building.
I think for me, it's not like, it's like putting like the energy at like the nth degree of getting into like that adventure mode for me like raises the emotions of that scene also to the nth degree, which I think was very important for this kind of rescue scene with Jessie, because Jessie is basically an abused person who has been through a traumatic event, and so for her to have this absolute trust of Woody in this moment of high tension, I think is super important, and to have Buzz be there for Woody at this moment of super high tension, I think is important. So I get kind of taking it out of reality in order to like heighten it in a fantastical way, I think is really effective in what they're trying to do.
Right. Okay, sure. So, okay. We already talked about the lighting in that scene, which is great.
Very good.
The lighting in the airplane storage zone, also so very good.
Can we talk about how they have the toys drive a car? Because I think it's maybe the coolest decision anyone's ever made.
That's really fun.
It's so good. You're like, hey, what if the toys drove a car? It's really good.
Yeah. Also, I just want to say that there's this moment where they show, like, because it's like a pizza delivery car. And there's this moment where it's just like, they show like the dashboard and there's like kind of the like empty slot where like a larger radio would go if there was a larger radio. And there's just like a whole bunch of like ones crammed in there. Yeah. And that was like so true to life for me because that is, I'm a pizza delivery guy right now and that is fucking exactly what my car looks like. Yeah. And it's just like, they really nailed the
just
feel
called me out and I don't know
of a pizza delivery car. How do you feel about bloopers in an animated movie?
I really like them. I think they're fun. I mean, it's just fun. Like when you're a little kid, you think they're hilarious because you're 6 and you don't really know what funny is. You just think if someone makes a funny sound or says a funny thing, that's funny. Right. And then as an adult, it's just, like, nice. I appreciate the extra amount of effort that it took for everybody to make, like, the extra bloopers. And I think they're funny and they're cute and I like them. And I like Barbie at the end of the movie where she kind of like breaks character. I think that's great.
Barbie's good. I love anything with Barbie in a Toy Story movie.
I love Barbie.
So, okay, I feel like we have to address, though, that on the Disney Plus version, I don't know if they cut it out of, like, Blu-ray releases or anything, but they cut out that really questionable gag where the prospector is, like, sexually extorting 2 Barbie dolls.
Yeah. Well, he's just, like, talking to him in his box, and then when the camera goes, he's like, oh, bye, ladies. Like, it's not the worst thing on the planet. It's not good.
I have to look it up. He says, it's like pretty explicit that he says like, oh, I think I might have some roles in the next movie for you gals if something. It's rough. I don't know.
Yeah, no. I support their decision to get rid of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. And I mean, it's also a separate decision about whether you should keep things that are problematic in movies as, you know, proof that they happened and, you know, acknowledgement of them versus just pretending they didn't.
Peter Pan, just saying.
Right, but like, I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily a super horrible joke in context. I mean, I don't know. It's not super cool for Toy Story, but like in a different context, I would have been fine with it because the whole gag of the blooper reel. Yeah, I mean, the whole gag of the blooper reel is like these toys are acting like they're actors, and Mr. Potato Head says some things like, get my agent on the phone, you know?
Yeah.
And like the boom mic gets in the shot and stuff. And it's a pretty dark joke to be like, oh, and also like rampant sexism in the film industry, haha. You know?
Yeah.
Like, and I don't think it's necessarily a problematic joke. I just think it's it's not age appropriate.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know.
Like, it was just a bad decision.
Right. And I don't know, and especially now that we know the things we know about John Lasseter, I don't know. There's a lot of different layers to this joke.
Yeah. Like, did John Lasseter okay that joke?
Right. Did he write that joke?
Did
Who's to say?
know?
I don't know. Did somebody write that joke about John Lasseter?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows? I don't.
There are a lot of different versions of how that came to be that would color my appreciation of that joke a lot of really different ways.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Toy Story 2, your thoughts, Adeline?
Really good movie. I love it. I love Jessie. I love the movie.
Okay, cool. Good.
What? I said all my thoughts earlier. I don't have any left.
By the way, I said in the last episode, or in Toy Story 1, I should say, that I miss Lenny, and I think Lenny should be in all the movies. I stand by it. Lenny is still technically in this movie.
He's used as an object.
He's used as an object and has 0 lines.
Yeah.
I want a Toy Story short about Lenny because he's the best Toy Story character.
Dude, I think he dies
about it.
in Toy Story 3. I don't think he's here anymore. He's in Goodwill, man.
He doesn't die. He gets like donated or given away.
No, he's been erased is what he's been.
To a good home. Adeline, you could say the same thing about Lil Bo Peep, but they brought her back.
Yeah.
They brought her. They could bring Lil Bo Peep back. Why not?
What if Lenny's just been chilling with Lil Bo Peep this whole time? Wouldn't that be great? They had a friendship. I want that short of Lil Bo Peep and Lenny being adventurers.
I want to do like a Spider-Man Far From Home thing where like it turns out that Lenny was actually in all of those movies. He's just always been kind of out of frame and not part of the action.
Wait, did they do that in Far From Home?
Or no, I guess that's not quite the same thing. You still haven't seen Far From Home?
I still haven't seen Far From Home.
You're a crazy person.
Are you saying that he's always out of frame, like that one scene in the Cat in the Hat movie where the egg guy has been in every single scene of the film?
I don't know that movie well enough to corroborate that reference, but...
You remember the Cat in the Hat movie? It was actually pretty good, if I remember.
Okay, you probably remember wrong. No, I guess that wasn't quite the same gag that was in Far From Home. In Far From Home, it was more like, oh, check out this extra from 3 movies ago. Oh, he's actually important now. It's not quite the same gag. I'm trying to think of a good gag, because it's not something I just came up with. People have done it before, where it's like, oh, and this character was here the whole time, even though you didn't see them.
Yeah.
I want to digitally insert Lenny into Toy Story 3 and 4, is what I'm saying.
You could probably do it. You could do it in a really shitty way if you wanted to.
All right, so I have a bit I want to start doing.
Okay.
Help me come up with a title for this.
Okay.
But if you've ever looked at the trivia on IMDb,
oh god,
you will find that there are probably about 4 or 5 really fascinating entries at the top, and then down at the bottom it gets a little more interesting. So I'm gonna read you some choice IMDb trivia about Toy Story 2.
Oh my god.
Here's one. When Buzz escapes the Buzz Lightyear box and tries to fly out the door, by the crate of lots of Pixar balls, it says that something is 99 cents. This is actually a shadow to the year the movie came out, 1999.
Are you fucking... Oh my god. Next to the basket full of Pixar balls is actually the reference that we wanted to point out to you.
Which is that the number 99 showed up.
Wow. What's another one?
Let's see. I looked at a few of them, but I didn't copy and paste them. Next time I do this, I want to have them prepared ahead of time, but... Here's a good one. This is one of the 2 animated films of 1999 to feature Dave Foley, the other being South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut.
Wow.
Hey, one of the voice actors in this movie was also in another movie that same year. Crazy.
Did you know? You didn't? Wow, huh? Says a lot about you. Yeah, I never liked
Here's a really good one. This is the first Pixar film to feature the famous Jurassic Park actor, Wayne Knight.
Okay.
I think also the only, right? He's not like a mainstay.
He's not in any of the other ones. Did you know? It is the only. What?
That piece of trivia was literally, did you know Wayne Knight isn't in Toy Story or A Bug's Life?
Or those 2 movies. I don't like trivia because it's not like, hey, do you want to learn a cool thing? It's, if you don't know this, you're a dumbass. You didn't know that the 99 cents sign was actually a reference to the year that the movie came out?
I've got a really good one. Did you know Wheezy got his name from his asthma?
He doesn't! Oh my god. That's not a fact.
Wheezy got his name from his asthma?
That's what we should have named you, Jackson.
Did you know this is the only Toy Story film to not have B in the 90s for Metascore?
What?
Did you know this is the only Toy Story film to not have B in the 90s for a Metascore? Did you know that?
I didn't know that, actually. I don't
it's
think
the only
I
one to not have B in the 90s?
Metascore?
Okay, so how do we want to wrap this up?
This has been trivia time.
Yeah, trivia time's good. This has been trivia time. I want to start doing this maybe every episode because I think it's very, very funny.
It's good.
So, hey Adeline, how about we wrap up the show by hearing a 1-star review of Toy Story 2?
I sure would love it.
This review comes from Letterboxd user Logan J. Nicholson. They give the movie 1 star, and they say, "This horse is stupid and smug. Woody should get a real horse, not this weedy moron."
This what?
Weedy moron.
Is he trying to call him like a twig?
Yeah, he's too skinny. His horse is stupid and smug. Woody should get a real horse, not this weedy moron.
Not this fucking horse.
Hey, my name's Jackson McMurray.
My name is Adeline McMurray.
And this is No Nerds Allowed.
There are no nerds allowed. What I love about all of these reviews is that is the reason why the whole movie gets 1 star. I didn't like the horse character. This movie is canceled.
This is canceled. The horse was too smug.
Canceled.